is Beth Miller, VP of Marketing for mindWireless, and I'd like to welcome you to our first webinar of 2012, Wireless TEM Imperatives. In just a moment, I'll turn it over to our presenters, but I'd like to go over a little housekeeping issues with you first. During the webinar, all of you will be on mute, but you have access to ask questions throughout. We'll be keeping track of those and we'll respond immediately after. Our webinar will be about 20 minutes. We'll have plenty of time for questions. And also, we are recording this session. So if you'd like a copy, just email us and we'll send you a link. Our speakers for today are mindWireless veterans. First, Kevin Whitehurst, our co-CEO and founder, has been with mindWireless since the start in 2000. Amanda Graham, our Director of Business Development, for over 6 years, has the experience of meeting, working, and helping clients and prospects across the U.S. and beyond. Our agenda for today is going to cover both the trends that are facing corporate mobility today and how to address those challenges. We're going to be looking at BYOD, bring your own device, the growth of data usage and smartphones in the enterprise, and an increased threat on wireless devices from hacking and a new term that we're hearing, smishing. So now I'd like to turn it over to Kevin to give us a start.
Great. Thank you, Beth, and thank you, everyone, for joining today. We appreciate your time. A popular buzzword in the wireless management industry is BYOD, or bring your own device. This is referring to the concept of allowing employees to attach their personal device or devices to the corporate network. This may be an additional device, like an iPad received for Christmas or an extra smartphone from the house. That may be additional to an already connected corporate device that may have received from the company. Or it may be a situation where employees that currently do not have a corporate paid or managed device that would like to attach to the network. Companies are wrestling with this concept and how to integrate into their current wireless program. We have even seen some organizations consider a holistic move of all devices to the bring your own device concept. First, let me say, a complete BYOD solution is not recommended. A complete dissolve of control and the hidden costs associated far outweigh the seemingly ease of pushing the device management to the employee. Aberdeen recently wrote a piece that warned of hidden costs of the BYOD program, where employees may expense more than the allowed stipend, and organizations must account for the added cost of the expense reports. The article quoted the expense reports costing about $29 per report. So when an organization moves management of an IT product like wireless to the employee, cost will go up. However, a blended solution may be a nice complement to a strong wireless program. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, and we'll talk more how to integrate BYOD into your wireless program, and then some considerations that an organization must review. So the next trend that we are seeing in the organization today is the trend from voice to data. This is a trend that we've seen over the last 2 years. And we pulled some data from our corporate database and sampled just over 100,000 lines and found some trends that we'd like to present today. First of all, we see voice in the top left graph. We see an increase in voice usage per device of about 7%, which is really flat growth and a little bit growth, but not much. But when we look at kilobytes or data usage per device, we see quite a different story. In data, we're seeing about 128% increase from the beginning of 2010. We see a large jump sort of mid-year in 2010 and then another here in mid-year of 2011. So quite a bit of jump within the data side. And then SMS messages we also see in early 2010 we were averaging per user or per device about 20 to 30 messages per month. And now we're seeing that average per user in the 100 messages per month. I've got several kids and teenagers, so that seems low to me. Anyway, in conjunction with the growth of data and SMS, we've also seen price increases in both areas. For a long time, data has been marketed and sold as a feature at a set price for unlimited. Of course, we all know technically that's limited unlimited data, but we're definitely seeing a trend there. Tiered plans are also being rolled out and will present a major cost shift for organizations in the future. We're still seeing them at a set price, but we're definitely looking forward to a tiered plan. In our study, we also looked at how iPhones and Android devices compared with other wireless devices. We took out those two. Those seem to be the popular operating systems out there. And what we found was that iPhone and Android users consume over 10 times more data than any other wireless voice device, like BlackBerries or traditional cell phones. So just an amazing consumption of data centered on those two devices. And this makes sense as we see the shift to these more popular devices. Perhaps you're experiencing this in your corporation right now, but BlackBerries are waning in popularity, and the iPhone Android craze has fully moved into corporations. Traditional cell phones are on the decline. We see here that in 2010, from inventory levels within our clients, we had a 39% decline of cell phones in 2010 and a 10% decline in 2011. We saw BlackBerries with moderate growth in 2010 and low to no growth in 2011, only at 5% growth. But Android and iPhone posted growth numbers of 90 and 100% year over year. We do anticipate this trend to continue, and I know you've probably heard or feel and see that within your organization. So now I'm going to pass it over to Amanda. We'll continue talking about some trends and then go into some of the strategies for managing wireless. Amanda?
Thank you, Kevin. The growth that Kevin was referencing earlier, I'm sure that I know I'm seeing it across companies that I'm working with right now, and I'm sure that these trends are holding true in your environment as well. Just let me give you a couple of statistics to think about. Last year alone, malware grew by 155% across all mobile platforms. Android malware accounted for about 46% of unique malware samples within that 155%. It's pretty large. Bottom line, identity theft is on the rise, and these devices are not secure, nor do they have the components necessary to be secure for the individual, much less thousands of devices that are in the enterprise. Perhaps you've heard of the term smishing, as we mentioned earlier. Well, it's similar to phishing, and you're not going to get anything to eat out of this. It's an offer from a trusted source that's with a virus-laden link delivered via text message. We've all received that text message asking you to call an 800 number or click a link because your bank account has an urgent message for you. Well, this is why the control is necessary and critical. So what is the process to gain control? Yeah, I know you guys have heard this over and over again, but control begins with a strategy, and it's very important. Whether you're 100% corporate liable, if you allow BYOD, or have even a hybrid of both, a strategy is critical to meeting these objectives. Many organizations have partnered with, say, a WIM or a TEM provider to help them efficiently meet these objectives. And once you have a strategy, what you want to do next is create a policy, a wireless policy, utilizing those objectives. Make sure the policy includes all your users within the enterprise who connect to the corporate network. Can't be any gray area. These parameters or boundaries should be extremely specific. And lastly, make sure you have an effective communication plan in place to educate and train your users on the policy and the processes around them. And most importantly, as crazy as this sounds, where to find the policy. Otherwise, what they'll do is they'll go about and create their own. I want to point out that most of our customers did not have a wireless policy in place prior to our engagement, or their policy was so outdated it wasn't enforceable in their environment. So this is what our recommendation is. Next, you want to use software to automate the wireless management control process. There are 5 critical areas that should be utilized. One is control should include enrollment for asset tracking, controlling device deployment through procurement, and when you're during that procurement process, you want to utilize highly configurable approval routings. Manage applications on the device, and for BYOD devices, own the information and the data on the device. That's very important. And of course, last but not least, visibility into the activity through reporting is essential. Now let's go back to Kevin and talk about how to secure these devices.
Great, thank you, Amanda. And we'll be focusing on the enrollment function within this screen view as we move to the next strategy. And a foundational tool we use within our software to secure devices is our enrollment function. Having an accurate inventory of employees and devices is critical to create, and more importantly, to maintain a secure environment over time. Enrollment within our employee portal allows end users to bring their own device and enroll it into the corporate program. It enables managers or their administrator to enroll for others and offer the ability to modify enrollments, which increases the ease of use for employees, as devices tend to change hands frequently within organizations. Every year, we initialize an enrollment campaign to verify inventory with our clients' employees. Also, having a regular feed of employee data, often nightly, helps us identify terminated employees so that immediate action can take place regarding the device and the removal of data from that device. Carrier data is also compared monthly with the enrollment database to keep an accurate list of active devices with current employees. Again, the key here is having accurate employee lists and combining that with users that have enrolled their personal or corporate device and carrier data all combined to help secure the information on these devices. In a bring your own device situation, this is also a critical first step. With a connection to a list of active employees combined with a list of employees connected to the corporate network via this enrollment function, companies can ensure that the network-connected devices remain only with active employees. Again, initial inventory, I can't say it enough, with a process for continual updates is critical to maintaining a grasp of employees' personal devices. Once an inventory is in place, we recommend considering an MDM solution to secure devices other than BlackBerries that may be connected to the corporate network. MDM, mobile device management, refers to a software solution that places a piece of software on each mobile device to enable monitoring, to control features, control applications being allowed on that device. The key security function of MDM, or mobile device management, is the ability to wipe corporate data from the device in the event of a lost or stolen device or in the event of a termination of an employee. I want to take a minute to discuss how a TEM, or telecom expense management solution, compares with an MDM, mobile device management solution. We're throwing out a lot of three-letter terms that we see thrown in the industry. I wanted to go through and talk through each of these together. The first key point is that TEM and MDM are not exclusive. In other words, we recommend looking at implementing them together to create a complete wireless management solution. So let's look at TEM first, then we'll overlay MDM over this map. TEM, telecom expense management, represents the technology, the processes, and the administrative support to procure, distribute, and manage the billing of wireless devices. The boxes on the slide represent the processes and technology associated with keeping and maintaining an accurate inventory, that's box 1, deploying new, upgraded, and replacement phones to employees, that's box 2, optimizing costs through rate plan analysis and bill audits and reviews, that's box 3, and lastly, reporting, being able to report for the end user for their device or for a group of devices that may report up to that end user. All of these processes are supported through operations and support, which is help desk, and supporting roles that help fill the gaps of the technology within the TEM process. Now, let's overlay MDM, mobile device management, on top of this TEM picture, and let's see how it looks. First, you see that MDM adds an element of security in the upper right-hand corner. If a device lands in the hands of thieves or gets attacked by malware or the employee leaves, we can wipe that device and or locate it. In our opinion, this is really the key to MDM. While BlackBerries have this function with BES or the BlackBerry Enterprise Server, iPhones, Androids, and other data-centric smart devices do not. These products and devices were designed for the consumer and not necessarily for the corporate world. With MDM deployed on the actual device, other useful functions become available, such as remote access into the device to assist with setup configuration or help desk troubleshooting, policy management. With employees wanting to bring their personal device, allowing corporate access only after a completed enrollment and installation of MDM software can help protect the organization. And now back to Amanda. We'll talk about how to save within wireless and wrap up the presentation.
Great. I want to talk about some key strategies on how to save and ultimately deliver a higher return into the enterprise. With automation, you should first eliminate the excess. This can be done through monthly optimization as well as enrollment or asset tracking, and I stress monthly. You should use these devices differently. You use these devices differently every month, so quarterly optimization doesn't do it for you. It isn't often enough. Next, renegotiate your current wireless vendor contracts based on the new strategy and the policy that we discussed earlier. These contracts should be designed to help you meet your objectives, not wrapping the policy around your wireless carriers. After all, you are the customer. Something else that I want to point out about the carrier contract is don't wait until the contract expires to renegotiate. Contracts are meant to be amended at any time. Service levels, rate plans, and key business contractual obligations should be a few items that can be incorporated into the contract. Types of devices that are supplied by the carrier, as well as the standard services to be provided on the device, such as features, are some other key points. Communicate the cost reduction opportunities within your environment, and some of the key areas here are behavioral change recommendations to some of your high-end users. I want to point out that some of the three of the key areas that are affected are international travel, texting, and also looking at tethering, which can eliminate multiple devices being deployed within the enterprise. Right now, many of our customers are seeing their cost per minute, as we were talking earlier, go down month over month, even though their usage is on the rise. So implementing some of those strategies that I just mentioned will drive the overall cost of ownership relating to wireless down. And ultimately, I think that's where everybody wants to go. So what did we cover today? First, we communicated that it's very important to identify a strategy around your objectives and then automate as much of the process that you can. Know what you're trying to control within the enterprise and how to control through MDM, tools like MDM. We need to effectively measure success by incorporating baselines and metrics, and this is extremely important, and this is going to help you show effectiveness and value to your strategy, for example, using those 9 saving strategies I mentioned earlier. And now let's go back to Kevin.
Great. Thank you, Amanda, and thank you, everyone, for joining us today. This concludes our presentation, and while we took a broad overview of this topic, we're certainly more than happy to sit down with you and drill down on any of these components we've listed today. So what we would like to do right now is take a time for questions.